Margaret White was a religious fanatic who suffered from mental disorders. At that time, Margaret was giving birth to a baby girl. Feeling that her baby has been possessed by an evil force, Margaret wants to kill her baby. However, when she saw the innocent baby's 2 eyes, Margaret suddenly changed her mind and let the baby live. The baby was named Carrie. Years passed. Carrie has now grown into a teenage girl. Under the care of her mother, Carrie grew up as a girl who was innocent, obedient, and does not dare to argue. Even Carrie became a quiet teenager and was afraid to mingle with her friends at school. Her personality made her a target for bullies like Christine and Sue. However, Carrie never dared to fight back or report the disturbances from the girls. She was always silent and accepted all their evil treatment. One day, after gym class, Carrie and the other girls rinsed themselves in the girls' bathroom. However, Carrie suddenly finds herself having her first period. Carrie, who was never taught about menstruation by her mother, becomes hysterical when she sees blood coming from her body. She thought that over time she would bleed out and die. Carrie screamed for help. However, instead of helping Carrie calm down, the students laughed at Carrie's innocence. They taunted Carrie, then started throwing pads and tampons at her. Christine even recorded the entire incident using her cell phone, then uploaded the video to YouTube. Carrie was very panicked and confused by what really happened. Not long after, their gym teacher Miss Desjardins arrives to calm Carrie down. The teacher explained that it is very normal for girls to have periods. Miss Desjardins decided to call Margaret to pick up Carrie earlier. Since Carrie was little, Margaret has been watching her every move and controlling everything in the girl's life. Margaret also often forced Carrie to be religious in an unnatural and excessive way. Even Margaret said that menstruation is a sin. Therefore, Margaret asked Carrie not to rinse herself in the girls' bathroom with other students anymore. When Carrie refused her mother's request, Margaret suddenly hit Carrie in the forehead with a Bible book. Then she locked Carrie in a small room in their house which she called the prayer room so that her daughter could learn and reflect on her mistakes. Carrie screamed for her mother to get her out of there. In the midst of Carrie's confusion, suddenly a crack formed on the wood of the room's door. Not only that, the crucifix in the restroom suddenly oozed blood. After that day, Carrie experiences more and more strange occurrences. Carrie realizes that she has telekinetic abilities and can manipulate objects around her with just her thoughts. Carrie finally investigated more deeply about this telekinesis power so that she could better control it. At school, Miss Desjardins announces that she will punish all students involved in Carrie's bullying incident in the bathroom. Upon hearing this, Christine refused to share in the punishment. Miss Desjardins finally suspended Christine and banned her from attending their school's prom. Christine angrily walked away and swore that she would get revenge on Carrie for this. Meanwhile, one of Christine's close friends named Sue felt very guilty after the incident. This guilt prompted Sue to ask her boyfriend, Tommy, to take Carrie to the school prom. Carrie is overjoyed when she gets Tommy's invitation to go to prom with her and she accepts. Carrie went home and made a dress that she would wear to the prom.
But Margaret knows about the prom party. She immediately forbade her daughter to come to the event. Carrie then disagrees with her mother until she is compelled to show her telekinesis powers to Margaret. Seeing this, Margaret believes that Carrie's telekinesis ability is the power of the devil. Carrie has sinned a lot and has been possessed by evil forces as she had been afraid of. On the other side, Christine and her boyfriend Billy and their friends devise a plan to get revenge on Carrie. They looked for pig blood and put it in a bucket. On the night of the school prom, Margaret tries to dissuade Carrie from going. However, Carrie uses her telekinesis powers against Margaret and locks her in a small room. Arriving at the prom, Carrie feels very embarrassed and nervous, but Tommy is friendly and tries to calm Carrie down. As part of a revenge plot, one of Christine's friends is entering Carrie and Tommy's names into the king and queen of the prom selection box. Meanwhile, Christine sends a text message to Sue, who is at her house, that she has prepared an evil plan for Carrie. Sue rushed to school to save Carrie. Arriving at the ballroom, Sue realized that Christine had placed a bucket full of pig's blood right on the stage. Sue tried to tell this, but Miss Desjardins even thought that Sue would harm Carrie. Therefore, Miss Desjardins kicked him out and locked the door so that Sue could not enter again. At the moment when the king and queen of the prom were announced, Carrie and Tommy, who were called the winners, went up to the stage. It was then that Christine finally spilled the pig's blood in a bucket on the stage onto Carrie and Tommy's heads. Carrie was both shocked and embarrassed. It didn't stop there. One of Christine's friends then played a video of Carrie crying in the bathroom. Everyone in the room started laughing at Carrie. When Miss Desjardins came forward to calm Carrie, Carrie, who was already overcome by anger, suddenly pushed Miss Desjardins with her strength. The bucket on the stage fell on Tommy's head and killed him instantly. Carrie then uses her powers of telekinesis to create a huge mess in the room that kills almost everyone at the prom. One of the electrical wires in the room then hit a pool of water, triggering a large fire that engulfed the entire school building. Still covered in pig's blood, Carrie came out of the school building with overflowing anger. While Christine and Billy try to escape in their car, Carrie drives the car into an accident that kills Billy. Christine, who survived, tries to run over Carrie with her car. However, Carrie instead lifted the car with her telekinetic powers and threw the car into a gas station near them. Carrie then knocked over an electric pole until it hit the car and burned it to the ground. After all the terrible things that happened, Carrie comes home looking terrible and has mixed feelings. After taking a shower and changing clothes, Carrie, who felt guilty to her mother, then revealed the whole incident while crying. The two then hugged. It was also at that time that Margaret finally told her about her first pregnancy with Carrie. But at the end of their conversation, Margaret suddenly stabs Carrie in the back with a knife. Margaret said that she had to kill Carrie to prevent her from being possessed by the devil again. Carrie also defended herself by throwing various sharp objects, which killed Margaret too. After doing this, Carrie becomes hysterical and loses her mind. She brought stones from various directions and showered her own house with the stones to destroy them. Sue was visiting the Carrie's house at the time the incident was taking place. On seeing Sue, Carrie picks up the girl and tries to kill her. However, she later realized that Sue was carrying a baby at the time. Therefore, Carrie took Sue out of her house so she wouldn't get hurt. Shortly thereafter, the house was destroyed and razed to the ground. Carrie was also buried in it. A few days later, after giving testimony in court about the incident, Sue visited Carrie and Margaret's graves. She put white roses on Carrie's tombstone, which were scribbled on by people who hated her. At the end of the story, Sue experienced severe contractions. Sue successfully gave birth, but what came out instead was Carrie's bloodied hands. Turns out it was just a dream Sue only